time again for another Treat or Terror. Hi, I'm Fox, any pronouns, and let's dive right into Treehouse of Horror 14. Dressed as penis characters, Bart and Lisa start arguing, in a violent yet understandable way.
And yet, I'm still not satisfied. You thieving hussy!
They accidentally stab Homer, so he throws a flaming log. It hits Grandpa instead, and Marge comes in to chastise everyone. With a shotgun. Then we get our annual Kang and Kodos cameo, this time mocking the episode for airing in November, after Halloween. After that fun and explosive opening, we go straight into segment 1, Reefer Madness. The title is a play on Reefer Madness, an iconic drug PSA. While the episode won't have anything to do with the devil's lettuce, it does have Homer killing the Grim Reaper. He was attempting to reap Bart's soul, and the family went into a Benny Hill Scooby-Doo chase sequence. Killing death creates a world where no one is dying. Homer tosses the bones in the trash and then puts on his robe, only to slowly transform into the next Reaper. He reaps a few people like, I guess God orders him to? Then a homeless man lured off the streets. Then random people at the sports game so he and Bart can get good seats. Homer really gets into the role, until Marge's name appears on the reaping list. Homer cheats God to keep her alive, and gives up the death business. Happy ending. This one was pretty weak, to be honest. A few amusing bits, but nothing that would be anywhere near the top of my Treehouse recommendation list. While the chase scene got a small chuckle, I really wish the episode would have tried to have some initial tension and real atmosphere, instead of shoving all that aside for silliness. A silly kill of the Reaper interrupting a suspenseful, chilling moment would have worked so much better. The second segment is Frankenstein. This is obviously a Frankenstein tale, involving a character I cannot believe is still being used, Dr. Frank. Frank has won the Nobel Prize. He's excited, but wishes his father was there to see him accept the award. They always had a strained relationship. His father more the athletic, adventuring type scientist, as opposed to the ultra-nerd caricature his son is. Turns out he was bitten by a shark when he was testing out a blood-based suntan lotion, and Frank cryogenically froze him. He decides to reanimate his father, who in turn decides to rip organs and body parts from people, disgusted at the mechanics inside of him working to reanimate him. Lisa convinces him to stop and attend the ceremony for the Nobel Prize. I do not get the joke of having the Swedish traffic woman naked, except for the hat and gloves, but hey, it's a good look. Frank Sr. attempts to mend the relationship with his son at the ceremony, but can't help going on a rampage, wanting to cram their brains onto his. Thankfully, a well-placed kick to the groin is enough to stop him. And as he lays dying, he convinces Frank Jr. that he cannot be reanimated again. So Frank Jr. lets his father die, keeping his soul in his new invention, the Soul Catcher.
I may be a soul, but I'm hungry. Can you throw in a little matzah?
I don't like this one. It's not very exciting, it's not very funny, and I had to sit through 2 characters doing the same annoying, exaggerated nerd voice. The only points I can give it are for having Frank's father represent scientists in horror and adventure movies from the 30s, 40s, 50s, where they were more daring and the pinnacle of manliness, as opposed to Frank Jr., who is the stereotypical weakling, smart scientist of later years. Otherwise, this segment really has nothing to it. Final segment of the episode is Stop the World, I Want to Goof Off. I appreciate the allusion to Stop the World, I Want to Get Off, a fascinating and captivating musical and later film adaptation. The segment has nothing to do with that, however, instead being another Twilight Zone parody, this time of the episode, a kind of a stopwatch. Here, Milhouse and Bart buy a stopwatch that actually allows them to stop time. Naturally, they use it to prank people around town. Everyone is up in arms over the bizarre, unexplainable happenings. Mayor Crimby holds a town hall meeting, where he reveals he covered the meeting hall with ultraviolet powder. Once he flips a switch, everyone can trace the footprints of the culprits right back to Bart and Milhouse. Everyone chases after the pair in good old-fashioned angry mob style, so they freeze time right before a bullet hits them. In the process, however, the watch gets broken. Everyone else remains frozen. They have fun for a while, gathering all the world's treasures and art they want, maintaining their families they've moved around, giving the Pope a wedgie. But it's all hollow and grows old quick, so they learn how to repair stopwatches. which takes 15 years. Everything goes back to normal. Bart and Milhouse are like 25. Then Lisa gets the stopwatch and plays around with it in a cute little sequence. The horror is definitely not present in this episode. It's a fun premise, amusing in places, but ultimately doesn't really inspire much commentary. It's middle of the road. I wasn't pulling out my little puppet fur, but I wasn't really invested. Overall, this was a real low point for the series so far. All 3 segments are weak, mostly forgettable, and frankly, I will forget them as soon as this episode is out. It's a real shame when your opening is better than any of the actual segments. And that's it for this one. Thanks for joining my lucid screaming.